Tonight, the Manly Sea Eagles get slapped of a huge Brisbane donut. Toulouse pull off some second half heroics to win their second game of the year. And have the Cowboys pulled off the try of the year in their wrangling of the West Tigers. Yes, hello, and welcome back to the Sideline Chat podcast, the one-stop shop for rugby league. It is once again Connor Marcells back in the driver's seat with no Mark Hendry. He's had to step back himself this time round, as I've had to step in at the last minute. He's not resigned yet. Mark, if you're listening, it's all jokes. You're still here for now. Now, anyway, it is your NRL Week 11 debrief, and we kick things off with the Newcastle Knights up against the Brisbane Broncos at McDonald Jones Stadium to kick off round 11. Broncos at this stage running out with an unchanged lineup, though still remains a cloud of injury over Tamare Martin concerning his hip. And of course, Selwyn Cobbo once again being teased to play fullback for Cody Walker's side. Meanwhile, with the Newcastle Knights, Dane Gagai back in the side after being named in the reserves on Tuesday, so Anari Tuala drops out. Tyson Frizzell also back in the side. So Leo Thompson pushed back to the interchange with Pasami Solo dropping out and Mitch Barnett to lock forward. Now, both of these sides played on day one of the KFC Magic Round, and both came up trumps in their respective performances, but it was really a tale of two different sides. Starting off with the Broncos downing the Manly Sea Eagles 38 points to nil. Look, the way that game started, not even talking the first half or the first 10 minutes, we're talking the first minute. I'm not even joking. The first minute, and Adam Reynolds forces a goal line dropout. That's where the Broncos are at. Forcing goal line dropouts off the kickoff. I mean, come on. But in all seriousness, Manly did not do themselves any favours in this game whatsoever. And as Mark's mentioned down here, where the hell were they? Well, I mean, I'll tell you where they were. They got slapped around so hard. I'm going to refrain from making more Chris Rock or Will Smith slapping references, because that's really just gone dead. But hey, memes are meme. What are you going to do? But yeah, Manly were not there at all. They had Tom Trbojevic, but that thigh, heavily strapped. And then the cork, as he puts it, that he wasn't moving freely. I mean, should he have been there? Probably not. And then, of course, losing Ben Trbojevic right on the bell of halftime did not help the case either. But this was just a genuine onslaught from the Brisbane Broncos, controlled in the middle of the field by Adam Reynolds, having really his influence stated high. You know, that talk of buy of the year, is it Hines, is it Reynolds? Well, if we're just looking strictly on this result, it was bloody Adam Reynolds by a country mile. The edges got peppered big time, and really losing Benny Turbo to that AC joint did not help their cause whatsoever. With Selwyn Cobbo, honestly, I don't think he will play for Queensland this year, but he is definitely in the running in the future. 3 tries, 203 running meters, and 3 tackle breaks. But Adam Reynolds just having that ball sit up on a string. It was just, if you're a Queensland fan, that is a chef's kiss for the Broncos as re-establishing themselves. It was right there. A perfect night with the boots, but definitely that was a drop in standards from Manly. Hurt them big time. And then my bolter for Queensland, and a bit of an older sort considered for the role these days, but I think Corey Oates very much deserving of an Origin recall for Billy Slater. And if you're looking at form, you're talking 2 tries, 262 running meters, 3 line breaks, and 5 tackle breaks. And I've singled out Oates in the past this year alone for some of the performances. Not to mention the kicking game, as I mentioned, of Adam Reynolds taking shot. I was right there. Both the flanks of Manly couldn't handle what the Broncos were dishing up, but the physicality and the dominance of the Brisbane middles, Haas, Jensen, an underrated signing so far. Pat Carrigan back at lock, just nowhere near perfect for the Manly Seagulls. Now, the Newcastle Knights, a bit scrappier, but they still managed to get the job over the Bulldogs. 16 points to 6. Now, really, this was a scrappy affair from both sides. Not exactly the most fluent and attacking football I've seen. And again, Mark mentioned it. Adam Clune's try, he's singled out here, should not have happened. As he says, Canterbury should have been able to defend that, but it pretty much summed up the night. Well, I gotta say it. That summed up the night big time. At 6 points all, as a Canterbury fan, you're feeling confident, but once again, just too many errors from really who have become the usual suspects. Matt Duffy, Corey Waddell. I know some people might want to throw Ockenbaugh in there as well. Oh, but good God. Just not good again from Canterbury. As for Newcastle, not too much better. I still reckon Kalen Ponga did nothing. But, hey, media still might have a slight love affair with him, but really, just the defense of into the Bulldogs was well and truly off, and I think Newcastle just played to the conditions as such. David Clemmer, a bit of an underrated performance from him. And really, because I need to be starting to pick a couple more forwards because I like try scorers. But yeah, no, David Clemmer, 202 running meters, 2 tackle breaks, and 2 offloads. Definitely not in the frame for Origin, but definitely still doing a job for Newcastle in the engine room. And he definitely looked good against the Dogs' forward pack. But really, when you have the likes of Paul Vaughan and Corey Waddell, it's not that hard to make a ground. Now, quick tip. Who do we fancy in this affair? Well, I mean, if you're looking for the Knights to get out of the funk they've been in for the last 2 months, I'm afraid you've come to the wrong podcast. I do not see, in the instance, an upset brewing on the cup. Odds, slight readjustment if Martin goes down. But other than that, I think the Broncos are just looking too strong on this front. And at the moment, even with the inclusions for the Knights, having, Dan Gagai back in the side, Anthony Milford making his first grade debut for the Knights, or should I say club debut, not first grade. But it's not going to be enough. Newcastle got away with, well, as much as I hate saying it, but Mark's probably going to enjoy he's saying it. They were up against the weakest side in the NRL going around. And at the moment, I mean, sure, they threw 9 offloads to 1. Kick defusal didn't go down so well from the 3 bombs they had to deal with. 11 missed tackles, 8 errors, 5 penalties conceded, as well as giving away 4 6-again calls against the worst side in the league. But there's a class difference that exists here, and I think if you look at it, Reynolds versus Clune, never mind just that. But this Broncos forward pack has found its front foot, and I think once they get going, Reynolds, Staggs, they'll just be too hard at the stop right there. So Mark's already given his tip. He reckons the Broncos by 32 because he likes his particular margins. I'm going to say the Broncos win this 13+. I think you're looking at an absolute bloodbath up in Newcastle. Katoni Staggs, don't think he'll make Origin. Will he terrorise the left-hand side? I can see that happening if Reynolds can get him enough clean ball. Now, moving on, we've got the West Tigers up against the Canterbury Bulldogs. Oh boy, Canterbury. What more can I say about the Dogs that probably hasn't already been said? So, Michael Potter's first game in charge. What is he working with here so far? Well, Jake Averillo has been recalled to play in the centres after spending the last game as 18th man. Brent Naden joining the opposition for this game, and the word is he will start in the centre. And tis Corey Waddell missing after copping that head knock. So Jackson Torpenny has been named in the back row. But there still could be some additional changes with Raymond Vitala Mariner named in the reserves for Michael Potter on his side. Whether or not there's going to be mass changes before kickoff, that's going to be a different story entirely. Now, speaking of the Tigers, there's a couple of changes here and there. Jacob Little back in the side after ending some time out, with Jake Simpkin dropping out. Jock Madden replaces Luke Brooks at 5'8", after that injury he pulled up with. If Kepa Oa moves into the centres, with Luke Garner reverting to the second row. New Brown will make his club debut, former Canterbury utility who's played in and around on a couple of sides. He will be coming off the bench, with Kelman Talangi back to the bench right there. So, the Tigers, well, they didn't fancy their chances either, and they got absolutely blitzed. It's by the overwhelming firepower that the North Queensland Cowboys put up, going down to the Cows, 36 points to 12. Wow. They tried to get up for this game, but going for the physicality against North Queensland, the way they've been playing this year, that was just a big bloody mistake. And they paid dearly for it. Or just timeout. Let's just talk about that first try they scored. I mean, holy shit. It's like Talangi's trying to outdo Inglis and Gaz, hasn't he, at the cricket ground back in 2008. Was alive for that game, but don't remember it, but still. Stop it. That was just absolutely unbelievable, the way that try was set up. And then sure enough, Talangi, several minutes later, he gets his just reward. And he was the standout player for the Cowboys in this game. One try assist, 158 running meters out on the left flank, playing outside Valentine Holmes, and 2 tackle breaks. And as Mark said, Cowboys once again, and brilliant. While the Tigers did show in small stages that what they are capable of, they didn't put in an 80-minute performance. And it showed right here. I mean, Ruben Cotter, he breaks through the line. He's got, I think it's Tom Dearden lurking back up on the inside. He's looking to take Toa on. What does he do? Instead of going right, he goes left, and he scores. How many times do you see that happen when the forward breaks through and scores a try just like that? Well, it happened a couple of times here, looking on day 3 in particular. But once again, and the Tigers just can't stick it out with the real heavyweights on the show right here. And the kicking game from Chad Townsend. Again, the ball on the string, Jeremiah Nanai. I swear to God, he only likes scoring tries if it's off a kick. That's the bare bones truth of it. 90% of the tries Nanai has scored this year, all off kicks. It's just like, there's only 2 that didn't. And so, yeah, what more can you say about that? Aerial specialist right there, of course. Junior Tupou scoring on debut, and it wasn't an easy feat. I have a beautiful kick set up from Jackson Hastings before once more Luke Garner breaking out into the clear and finding some open air right here. So they've got to come up against this Canterbury side where in the last 24 hours there is talks Addo Carr, Matt Burton and Luke Thompson could all be unavailable with 2 other players because of the flu. Yeah, this isn't looking good for us whatsoever. Already on the back foot. Trent Barrett, the word is resigned as head coach. Yeah, right. I don't believe that for a second. And Anthony Griffin could probably test that when he resigned from Penrith 4 years ago, sitting in the top 4. Gus! Oh, shit. Yeah, probably should. I've got to be careful. I might have to get myself tested for that. Otherwise, I might have to sit out next week as well. So, where do we go from here if we're a Canterbury fan? Well, we're not Brent Nathan, that's for sure. We're sticking this one out. I'm sticking this one out. As much as I hate seeing my team lose week in, week out, I'm just thinking it can only get better from here. We're getting kick out. We're getting Marnie. We just got to wait another 3 months for both of them to arrive in November. That's probably not what it is, but hey, look, we still got 14 rounds to play. So it's about 3.5 months, and then November on top of that. Now, depending how the Dogs line up on Friday night, whether we have our stars or whether we don't, I don't think we can get the win here, especially at Leichhardt. I feel like the Tigers faithful will be rallied for this game to try and show something at least. After that humiliation at the hands of the Cowboys. So, final tip. Look, Jackson Hastings versus Carl Flanagan. It's a no contest. I think Hastings wins 10 times out of 10 again. And it's Flanagan. And I think if he can keep the right-hand defensive side of the Bulldogs under pressure all night, especially with a weapon like Ken Mamalo, and then El Luce, Garner, second row, was punching holes on the edges. Mark's already come in with his tip. No surprises. He's gone the Tigers by 16. Yeah, I'm more inclined to agree with him. I think the Tigers win in this. I think the Tigers win, but I don't think it'll be a blowout margin as many people will be expecting. I think it'll be a little bit tight. Other than that, I think the Tigers win this 7-12. I think there's at least 2 tries in it that separates the Tigers and the Bulldogs, but at the end of the day, they'll be still anchored to the bottom of the ladder, and the Tigers live to fight another day, really. Yes, that's the state of play they were working with at the moment. Now, the Eels at home to the Manly Sea Eagles. It's the 1980s all over again at the CommBank Stadium in Sydney. Starting off with the Sea Eagles side. A couple of changes here and there. There is no Ben Trebojevic, which of course ruled out because of that AC joint. So Morgan Harper gets a rare start in the centres at this point in time. Andrew Davey named in the second row ahead of the returning Josh Schuster, who has been named on the interchange bench. Ethan Bullimore dropping back to the 18th man position. As for Parramatta, a bit more positive sign for Brad Arthur right there. Marata Niokore back in the side after some time out. Ryan Madison lifted the start at lock ahead of Nathan Brown. Bryce Cartwright back on the interchange. But the good news, Micah Sivo has been named to return after doing England's ACL up in Queensland last year. Will he get a late call-up for this game? Well, no, I don't think he will. I think he'll play for Parramatta in their curtain race. He's in the New South Wales Cup, but other than that, I think it's a good step moving forward for Brad Arthur that he finally gets some good strike weapons back. Now, the Eels. They too didn't have a good day at the KFC Magic Round on day 3. Going down to the Sydney Roosters, 31 points to 24. Wow, this was a tri-fest. I'll tell you that. This was an absolute tri-fest that was put on display right here. And this was only the middle game right here. But definitely the draw card for a whole host of reasons. Chip and Chase aces, swinging momentum. Back rowers breaking into the clear. Here, if your name's Isaiah Papali'i, Mitchell Moses, Sam Walker. This game had it all. Now, I will be fair, the Eels, they did not handle the first 40 minutes well whatsoever. They genuinely did not handle it whatsoever. Tedesco's tried, that should have been cleaned up. Never should have happened. And what about the balls on Sammy Walker? I mean, seriously, the balls on Sammy Walker. The chip and chase over Gutherson, reading the play perfectly, to take it to 18-6. That was just mint right there. And Sam Walker, his first half alone makes it worthy for him to be the standout player for the Roosters. One try assist, 41 running meters, 5 from 7 goals converted, and 1 field goal on the stroke of halftime. Now, I'm not a fan of the first half field goal. There's a long-standing pattern. Usually, you kick a first half field goal, you go on to lose. Well, it almost happened there, and Mark was very, very true of this. The Roosters were lucky to get away with the win in the second half. Mitchell Moses absolutely on fire. Parramatta were coming hard. They were only down by 1 with 20 minutes to go. Oh, so you figure this way, Roosters are up 25 5-6. Eels put on 3 tries in the space of, I don't know, let's just say about the opening 19 or so minutes of the second half. And you're thinking, oh wow, shit. Parramatta's coming thick and fast after a slow start. Right there. Second try to Papali'i, then some brilliance from Moses and raw power from Ryan Madison. But the kicking game again. This time Luke Ukiri and the passing from Joey Manu for Joseph Suwali. The teen beast of the Sydney Roosters. Having committed to 2023, I think Roosters fans will be very pleased of the result of their rising star that they got here, and really why he was lured over from South Sydney. Now, 1-for-1 strike rate, 5 appearances, 5 tries this year. Yeah, and he's not going anywhere. I would think not going anywhere whatsoever. But we're getting sidetracked with this game. Manly, of course, we know, abysmal against the Broncos. First time in 5 years they've been held to a donut scoreline. 5 years. Parramatta, I think they'll be lamenting that first half before almost they put in. They had the solid defence, really, just for the first 3 minutes. Then the big dog, Warrior Hargraves, got over, and it just went downhill from there. Now, these fixtures are the funny ones to predict. Even when you think Parramatta is the team that's up, Manly just come from nowhere, and it's be like, with that, it's just like, oh yeah, Parramatta, they've been playing under their skins. I mean, they knocked off the Melbourne Storm in round 3, and they knocked off the Panthers in round 9. But I tell you what, when we stick to our processes, we just do well. That's the bare bones truth about it. Probably not the best. That's Desi impersonation right there. So, Manly to win, I think they just need to cut the errors out. Tom Trbojevic, depends how he holds up with this one. But ultimately, I think it's another Parramatta ambush they've got lying in wait, I think. In Parramatta, they need to show... They have shown they're not flat-track bullies when going up against the best sides, but this is a side that can trip them up very easily right there. I'm thinking Josh Schuster, he'll be used sparingly as he's returning from his calf injury, but I think once he comes on and starts ball playing a little bit, I think that unlocks the left-hand side of the Manly Sea Eagles. Foran, Garrick, and of course Morgan Harper sliding right on in there. Do I see Parramatta getting blown off the park? No, I don't, but Mark does see the Eels putting up a huge margin. And when I say huge, I mean it is absolutely enormous. Almost right here, as we bring up his tips once more. He's calling a Parramatta by 12 win, and so he's going for the 7-12 margin there. I'm going to have to swing the other way. I think Manly bounce back in a big way, and I think they win this 7-12. Personally, I think Parramatta is set up again and to be ambushed at home once more. Now, moving on, it's the St. George Illawarra Dragons up against the New Zealand Warriors at Cogra for the first game of Bundaberg Rum Super Saturday football, starting off with the Warriors and a couple of positional changes. Ewan Aiken back from concussion and back into the second row, alongside Tohu Harris, of course, made his first game in a long while. All right, there, coming into the second row. Jesse Arthurs and Chanel Harris-Tafita amongst the reserves, but are still in a chance for a late call. All up, and Jazz Tabunga will play game 100 for the Warriors. Now, a couple of changes for St. George Illawarra. Cody Ramsey back for the first time in a while, taking over fullback from Tyrell Sloan. Francis Molo wearing jumper number 18 in a tribute, I think to one of the St. George legends. I can't remember which off the top of my head. Ed Mark could probably correct the record on that. With no Josh McGuire, Jack Gajeski is lifted into the starting back row. And Michael Molo, the younger Alvaro Francis has been included on the bench to make his debut. And as for that, I think it's either Norm Proven or Johnny Raper that the tributes will be flowing for, or right here. That wonderful opportunity. And yeah, Johnny Raper. So the number 8 jumper has been retired solely for this game to pay tribute to a legend of the St. George Rugby League club right there. Now, both sides, day 2, mixed performances, both of them. And to say the least, starting off with the Warriors going down 32-30 to the South Sydney Rabbitohs. But it didn't look that way. If you look solely at the first half alone, the Rabbitohs are in control. The right edge of the Rabbitohs in attack is absolutely firing. Cody Walker, a standout performer in this game with the captaincy, though I think he should have run the ball a bit more. 36 run meters, 3 try assists, and a goal line dropout, as Mark clearly mentioned. What the hell did we witness in this game? We had South Sydney pour on 4 to 5 tries in the first half alone. The Warriors shut out for 39 minutes and 55 seconds. No avenue whatsoever. And remember, this is a South side without Cam Murray. So they're in trouble here already. But Walker, very lucky to hold on right there for the dub. But they had to work hard in defense for it, because once the Warriors got a sniff in the second half, it was just one-way traffic, like blue, red, and green all over for the men and hailing from Auckland. You had Sean Johnson breaking the line. You had Reece Walsh with pinpoint kicks for Marcelo Montoya, who had a brilliant game. And it was 2 tries and 1 try assist. Just unfortunate. A 2-point field goal was all the difference. And the Rabbitohs down to 12 men for the final 6 minutes. That game could have gone either way. And there was some very, very flimsy defense from the Bunnies at the back end. Dejan Arce slicing through and really made it game on in the dying minutes. I gotta feel sorry for the Warriors in this instant, but at the same time, it's another loss for Nathan Brown, and you just gotta think, how much longer is this bloke, now that Barrett's gone, how much longer can he last in the top job? Well, who knows? Genuinely, who knows? Now, the Dragons. Golden Point, not so kind to some. I'm going down to the Gold Coast Titans. 20 points to 16. Some relief for Justin Holbrook, for the Dragons. Heartbreak to say, the absolute least, and probably what was a blockbuster of unexpected proportions. And Mark makes the point. Storm versus the Panthers, which turned into a real stinker. But he thinks that match was the blockbuster of the KFC Magic Round. Desperation. 5 missed field goals in Golden Point alone. 4 from the Gold Coast, 1 from St. George, Illawarra. All right there. But I'm sorry, just defense wins games. But if you're letting Jaden Campbell run 50 meters unopposed out of his own end, I'm sorry, you forfeit the right to win and right there. And the Titans got extremely lucky with the field position they were gifted. Due to unfortunate errors from Tyrell Sloan, looked very good with the ball right there, but just unfortunate that at the end of the day, all said and done, Jermaine Asako goes over in the corner and seals the game for the Titans. Bo Fermor, though. Many predict Queensland berth this year. No David Fafita, maybe sneaks in under the radar, but with Kafusi, Capewell, Elia edge combinations, it is very hard to say. But still, a good performance from Fermor. 1 try, 135 running meters, and 2 tackle breaks right there. The Dragons, I think they should have used Moses Suli a bit more in this game. And Zach Lomax. That was very poor choice of judgment right there. Had he taken the 2 when it was on offer, different result. Thoroughly a different result, but hey, what do I know? I'm just some guy on a laptop somewhere in an undisclosed location. Now, there's going to be emotion in this game for the Dragons. And at the spiritual home of Netstrata Jubilee Stadium at Cogra, I think they can pull this off. I think Ben Hunt was single-handedly keeping the Dragons in this game up until the dying minutes. And I expect a turnaround performance from St. George Illawarra in this regards. Mark's gone for a prediction of the Dragons winning it by a try, 1-6. I got to agree. The Dragons win this game in the 1-6 margin. And I think the Warriors we'll see how they go, but I think if Ben Hunt's kicking game aim is the same as it was against the Roosters on Anzac Day, the Warriors don't have a chance. Now, this game's of interesting intrigue. The North Queensland Cowboys up against the Melbourne Storm in this game. Craig Bellamy persisting with Tyron Wishart at fullback, but the good news is Jerome Hughes is at fullback for this game. And Brandon Smith moving into the front row with no Big Nelson, a Sofa Solomon owner there. And of course, Tui Kamakamefa with his second game back since being stood down. As for the Cowboys, no changes whatsoever, so a luxury for Todd Payton there, but with the liability that is Tom Gilbert, his 3rd offence for the year, but very lucky to play for North Queensland right there. Now, the Cowboys, we've already touched up the West Tigers, but Melbourne, very surprisingly, Melbourne touched up by the Penrith Panthers, 32 points to 6. Wow. The first time in 8 years that Melbourne have been absolutely embarrassed right there. I mean, honestly, I didn't see this one coming. And to be fair, no one else saw this coming either. But just the kicking game of Nathan Cleary and the use of Viliami Kikau out on that left edge terrorized the Melbourne Storm. It was like shades of their first meeting in 2020 all over again. Cleary puts up the bomb. You got Big Billy Kikau bearing down on you like a Fijian freight train, and with this long flowing mop, he outjumps you, and he scores a try. And then beautiful ball playing from Jerome Luai, running off him, and dragging the Melbourne defence across far enough that he sends Isaac Tago sliding in underneath, even back on the inside. Absolute class from this Panthers side. As much as I hate saying it, of course I hate saying it. I'm talking about the team that's currently sitting 9-1 at the top of the NRL ladder. So what more can I say? But yeah, Penrith were ruthless in this game, and I think the argument can be made: Melbourne needed to lose this game. And of course, didn't live up to the hype, and Penrith were the dominant force all night long. And really, with no Hughes and no Pappenhausen, it showed for the Melbourne Storm, but I would not be persisting with Tyron Wishart at fullback. Not in the slightest. You've got Nick Meaney there, a specialist fullback by trade. Put him in there, and then you get Dean Iramia that comes onto the wing. I really don't see what the problem is. And now Mark has had a bit of a beef with the officiating because it's his favourite referee in Ashley Klein, as it was on the night. The referee in this match, his words, not mine, did favour the Panthers, which was disappointing to see. I'm not having a crack at anyone in the NRL or the refs, yeah, right. But he feels like it was heavily in favour of the Penny Panthers for this one. Wouldn't be the first time he tried to sort of dodge odds the question right there. But at the end of the day, what can you do about it when it's his favourite referee he loves? As I talk about so much right there. But he does make the point about Hughes. I think having him there, not there, and with no Pappenhausen either, really hurts. As for the Panthers, Jerome Luai, I think had a blinder in this game. 1 try, 2 try assists, 4 tackle breaks, and 3 offloads, really sticking it around the edges. Now, here's the question I pose to all you Cowboys fans out there. How do you think you're going to fare against a genuine Premiership heavyweight, licking its loons after being down on its own standards, and coming up to Townsville? Well, I'm going to say, you're going to get a bloody good contest out of it. Nanai versus Kenny Bromwich. Now, this is going to be an aerial contest of intrigue. You got Coates versus Taulagi. Ungi right there. 2 real try-scoring weapons, respectively, for their sides. And the versatile forwards, Cotter and Smith, dummy halves, usually by trade, playing in the middle of the field. I think you're going to get your money's worth for this game. And right here, it may be Iramia, who has been named on the interchange. And could swap out with Wishart, leading shifts the fullback. I think that should be what they really do right here. But I think the Cowboys are going to bite off a bit more they can chew right here. I think Melbourne are going to train the house down, and I think they're going to come away a lot better than what they did put on against the Panthers. And we have seen the Melbourne Storm better than this. Marcus is going the other way on this. He's tipping the upset right here. He's going Cowboys by 2 in the 1-6 margin. Look, I think the Cowboys are going to put up some very stiff opposition and going to show some brilliance right here. But at the end of the day, we are talking about the Melbourne Storm right here. I think this will be a tight game played up in Townsville, and it will be a 1-6 win going the way of the Melbourne Storm. I don't think the Cowboys can handle what Melbourne are about to unleash against them. And the final game on Super Saturday, it's the Sydney Roosters back at home against the Penrith Panthers. No real changes once more, or for Ivan Cleary, taking care of Brisbane, taking care of business up in Brisbane is the way it should go. Oh, Ivan Cleary didn't travel up there because he was back in hospital, but good news, he's out of hospital and looks to be back on depth, hopefully. Now, some big news for the Roosters. No Victor Radley, and it looks like that's going to stay that way for the next 2 months. So Nat Butcher will be named at lock full or in the place, while Lindsay Collins has been named on the interchange after returning from a high tackle he got suspended for. Connor Watson named a starter dummy half, but the usual late switch with Drew Hutchinson could happen here. No Radley. Ow. That's got to hurt the Roosters big time right there. Very lucky to escape the Eels purely off the boot of Luke Keary late in the second half. Right there, after a shift from left to right. But the way the Panthers are playing, you can't go past them whatsoever. Right here, I just think you're looking at the most well-oiled machine for a while. They're back. They're close to back to their best, and I think Butcher's a good forward, but I don't think he's your ball player like Radley is. If the Roosters want to win this, they're going to have to play as hard and as fast through the middle as they can, but they're going to lose out on the ball playing in and around the middle of the field. Fortunately, that's where Isaiah Yeo comes in, the perfect link man between Cleary and Luai that'll get the job done right there. Mark has also sort of seen the writing on the wall right here. The Panthers to win this by 4 in a 1-6 margin. I think the margin's a little bit wider. I think the margin's 7-12 for the Penrith Panthers right here. But the Roosters are going to be in for a world of pain. And once Cleary gets some open air time right there. Unfortunate, but that's the way the cookie crumbles right there. Now, shifting on to Sunday, it is going west to Dubbo as the South Sydney Rabbitohs play host to the Canberra Raiders. The Raiders boosted by the return of Jack Whiten, with unfortunately rookie half Brad Schneider to miss out in the big call made by Ricky Stewart. With Zach Walford will be named to start at dummy half with Adam Elliott still as 18th man, and Josh Papali'i has been listed to play his 250th NRL game, all of course for the Green Machine. Now for the Rabbitohs, of course, also lost Jacob Host in the win over the Warriors, so Trent Peoples will come in to start in the second row. Hame Sele in the reserve as he looks to make his way back from a calf complaint. And Shaq Mitchell also in the reserves, but the way the bench works, I think he'll be fine with the way it is. Now the Raiders. Shark Slayers is up on day 3 of the Magic Round right there, and really made the Sharks feel uncomfortable. I mean, genuinely. How much drop ball did we see out of the Sharks in that game? That was just unbelievable. Well, what happened right there? And you know what? At 30 points to 10, Canberra pulled a Cronulla on Cronulla. They were down to 11 men on the field, copping 3 sin bins. Elliot Whitehead got sin bin, and was the third man to get sin bin. A bit unfortunate, but yeah, the NRL's just like, it's contact with the head, even though he was completely falling into it, and Elliot had no control whatsoever. But Matt Frawley, so underrated at this point. Like, it's not even... You just have to be amazed by the fact that the Raiders knocked off a real premiership contender right here at Suncorp Stadium. Down to 11 and still attacking like they were playing with 13. It's absolutely remarkable what they have done on here. Yeah. And Hudson Young, I think, the exclamation point on this back-to-back wins for the Green Machine. 1 try off a long-range intercept, 147 running meters, majority of those from the try, and 2 tackle breaks. I got to tell... Oh yeah, I have never seen the Sharks that much dominated as I did it against the Raiders right there. And it's kicking me because I said back in round 1 and during the week 1 debrief, or I might have called it the round 1-2 debrief at that point in time, the Raiders are the Sharks' bogey side. And here we are, second fixture of the day. And I have left with egg on the face, well and truly. Zach Walford, definitely some nice touches. Tore the Sharks up through the middle. Right there. No breathing room for Cronulla whatsoever for their fluent attack. But I got to say, Nico Hines at fullback didn't necessarily work out. Now, interesting proposition. The Rabbitohs very lucky to get away with victory. Raiders emphatic in their win over the Sharks. Alex Mark sort of sizing this thing up right here in Dubbo. As we come back down to the tips, he thinks that the Raiders won't back up after a big result like that and won't go to 3 games in a row. He expects South Sydney to go back-to-back at Apex Oval in double by 14, calling it a Rabbitohs 13-plus victory. You know what? I'm going to swing the other way. I think the Raiders played very well. Defense looked outstanding as it had in 2019-2020. Jack Whiten coming back is a big in for Ricky Stewart right there, and perfectly timed, I would say, at the very least. This Green Machine could knock off anyone that they've knocked off Cronulla. Whether they can knock off Penrith or Melbourne, they can't, but the Rabbitohs are definitely within their range right here. I'm going to call this a Raiders 7-12 win right here. Jack Whiten, the score on return. There's my tip for the week. And finally, the final game of round 11 of the NRL Telstra Premiership. It is the Gold Coast Titans and the Cronulla Sharks. The Sharkies making a couple of changes after the loss. Nico Hines back in the halves after starting at fullback. Rugby 7-star Lachlan Miller named at fullback for his first rugby league game In the top flight, Wade Graham named at second row for the first time in a long time. I'm with Teague Wilton shifting to the bench. No Dale Finucane and no Jack Williams, so Cam McInnes is named to start at lock forward, and Aidan Tolman is included on the interchange with Andrew Fafita. And as for the Gold Coast Titans, Justin Holbrook opting for the same 17 that downed the Dragons in Golden Point, but has the luxury of Greg Marju in the reserves right there. Well, I gotta say, the Titans very, very lucky to get away with that win over the Dragons as they come down with the hiccups. Ups right there and in there. But the Sharks are going to take this one lying down. I think you look at the sides, both on pen and on paper right there, probably not the way it's meant to be called. Well, the Sharks are a class above the Titans. We know Gold Coast will want to throw the ball all around. And then if they get Brian Kelly back in the centres, whether that's the expense of Asako, again, we'll see how that one ends out. But I'm expecting the Sharks to bounce back in a big way for this game after being humiliated by the Green Machine. And Mark ultimately agrees with me as well. He's calling it Cronulla by 18, so he's calling it a Sharks 13-plus victory right there, and I have to agree on that. I think the Sharks do win this game 13 points plus. And with that, that's your NRL round. Your NRL Week 11 debrief. If you want to, don't forget to give us a follow on the social media channels on Facebook and on Instagram. It is Sideline Chat, and on Twitter under our beautiful old master Elon Musk, it is Sideline Chat RL. But don't go anywhere. We'll be back tomorrow with your Betfred Super League debrief. Toulouse with the second win of the season. Wakefield under pressure. And how far have the Warrington Wolves fallen? And is it faster than Rowan Smith's first game? All that and more next time. We'll see you tomorrow.